At the end of 2019, the National Geographic released its Best Trips to Take in 2020 list. The only American city that made the list was Philadelphia. Now, I would imagine that came as a surprise to many people, but certainly not those from here. Let's meet the scrappy underdog of a city that is Philadelphia. Now, I like to start by taking a quick look at how a city got its start. Now, Philadelphia, which is Greek for brotherly love, that's why they call it the city of brotherly love, was founded by William Penn. Penn was a Quaker who was granted a charter by Charles II of England to form what would become the colony of Pennsylvania. He decided to settle his colony on the west bank of the Delaware River near where it converges with the Schuylkill River. William Penn had experienced religious persecution, and so it was paramount to him that his colony was a place anyone could worship freely. This spirit of tolerance helped improve relations with local native tribes and helped Philadelphia grow into the largest and most important city in the colonies. Today, Philadelphia boasts a population of 1,584,000 within its city limits, making it the fifth largest city in the United States and the second largest on the East Coast. Now, if you were to expand to include the entire metro area, there are over 6 million people within the Philly, Camden, Wilmington metro area, which is the 8th largest in the country. The measurement that I personally care most about, though, when evaluating a city is its skyline, and Philly's is special. When you average the top 5 buildings and compare it to every other U.S. city, Philly's is the third tallest skyline in the country. Now, it's not nearly as tall as Chicago or New York, but its highest buildings are on average about 40 feet taller than the next tallest city, Los Angeles. What makes this even more impressive is that Philadelphia was relatively late to the skyscraper game. Now, the reason for that is that there was this gentleman's agreement that no building should be built taller than the top of William Penn's hat atop the Philadelphia City Hall. That's why if you look at this iconic image from Rocky, the Philadelphia skyline is relatively flat for a city in 1976. Now, I'll talk more about the City Hall in just a minute because it is such an amazing building. The gentleman's agreement was broken, however, in 1984 when a bold developer, Willard Roos, convinced the city council to approve his plans for One Liberty Place. The building, which was heavily influenced by the design of the Chrysler Building in New York City, is 945 feet tall and is Philly's third tallest skyscraper today. Now, as a quick side story, the broken gentleman's agreement had some serious consequences in the minds of superstitious Philly sports fans. Although several Philly sports teams made it to their respective championships over the next 20 years, no team won. They called this the curse of Billy Penn. It wasn't until the Comcast Center was completed and a heroic ironworker put a small statue of William Penn on the highest beam that the curse was broken and the Phillies won the World Series the following year. And then when the Comcast Tower was surpassed by the Comcast Technology Center, an ironworker put another William Penn statue on the last beam a month before the 2017 Super Bowl, where the Eagles beat the Patriots. Now, I wouldn't say this all makes me superstitious, but it does make me a little stitious. Today, the tallest building in Philly is the Comcast Technology Center. It stands 1,121 feet or 342 meters tall, making it the tallest building in the country outside of New York and Chicago. The building is a super skyscraper. It's also considered to be a smart building because it tracks its population as people move between different rooms, and it even recognizes sun patterns in order to be as energy efficient as possible. All of this data then feeds into this central brain plant, which to me is a little reminiscent of iRobot. There's also 125,000 gallons of water in the ceiling of the 57th floor, just below the Four Seasons Hotel at the top of the building, to act as a counteracting force on windy days to reduce the sway of the building. In the lobby of the building is the Universal Sphere, which plays a 15-minute video made by Steven Spielberg called The Power of I. Few cities have a food more closely connected to the city than Philly does with the cheesesteak. It was invented by Pat Olvieri in 1930, whose business became Pat's King of Steaks. Across the street from Pat's is Geno's Steaks. Their close proximity to one another has led to a big and arguably overhyped rivalry on who has the best cheesesteaks. You want my opinion though? Neither of them do. That crown belongs to John's Roast Pork. Another food famous to Philly is the Broccoli Rob pork sandwich. The most famous place for this is in DeNick's in the Reading Terminal Market. When it comes to food in general in Philly, the Reading Terminal Market is a pretty amazing place to get a bite to eat. It's located just a block away from City Hall and is one of the oldest and largest public markets in the country. The market has 80 different merchants ranging from Middle Eastern cuisine to an Amish pretzel stand. When William Penn drafted up the first plans of the city, he included 4 parks spaced equally around the City Hall. Today, those 4 parks are all still in existence and are each very unique. William Penn hoped that although Philadelphia would be urban, it would still look like a green country town which will never be burned and always handsome. There's also Fairmount Park, which straddles the Schuylkill River. It's considered to be the largest urban park in the country at 9,200 acres. You can make the argument that Philadelphia has the richest history of any city in the United States. This makes it natural then for it to have some of the best museums. First, there is Independence Hall, which is where both the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution were signed. And then at the top of the Rocky Steps is the Philadelphia Art Museum, which is considered one of the top 5 art museums in the country. There's also the Franklin Institute, the Museum of the American Revolution, the National Constitution Center, the Liberty Bell, the Eastern State Penitentiary, and nearly 100 more museums in the area. There have been several blockbusters filmed in Philly. The most significant is certainly Rocky. When I first moved to Philly, I thought it was a little silly that they'd made a statue of a fictional character. But the more I learned about Philly, the more I realized that Rocky really embodies the city of Philadelphia. He is a scrappy, tough underdog with a heart of gold. Other movies that are filmed in Philly include National Treasure, Shazam, Invincible, Law Abiding Citizen, Marley and Me, Creed, as well as many others. And as far as TV shows go, there's The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and This Is Us, again, among other shows. To finish, I wanted to talk a little more about the Philadelphia City Hall. This building is amazing to me. When construction started on this building in 1871, it was designed to be the tallest building in the world. Unfortunately, it took so long to build that it was passed by the Washington Monument and the Eiffel Tower during its construction. Although it didn't achieve the record of tallest building in the world, it does hold a couple records even today. It's the tallest masonry structure in the world at 548 feet. At the top of the tower stands the famous William Penn statue, which is the largest statue atop a building in the whole world. The statue itself is 37 feet tall and weighs 53,000 pounds. And if that knowledge doesn't make you too nervous, you can actually go up to the observation deck just below the statue and get a 500-foot view of the city. It's also the largest municipal building in the country, even beating out the Capitol. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. And if you enjoy cities in general, please subscribe. I'll be making more of these city intro videos as well as other videos about cities. Thanks so much and have a great day.